Don't worry guys, reviews will be coming back shortly, but I wanted to do this video because there's nothing really good out at the minute worth reviewing. I have played Nebuchadnezzar. I was playing that this morning, the new city builder that's just released today. I've been playing a first-person shooter as well, and a couple of other games. I've been playing Rustler, but do you know, I just thought, nah, I'm going to do this first. I'm going to do this first because none of them, after the initial playing, tickled my fancy. I looked at Valheim and I was going through the comments of my review. I mean, my review's approaching 400,000 views and there's loads of people asking questions. It's the game that everybody's talking about at the minute, so I thought, why not, after now spending 90 hours in the game, guys, why not do an updated video on what I've learned since my review? I've learned a lot, guys, a hell of a lot. So I thought that would be more beneficial to people who are still on the fence, or just to answer some questions that people have posted in the comments, and to debunk the absolute lies and myths that people are posting as well, which is utter bullshit. So let's get on then. We have a community server. It's a dedicated server, which I rent, and there's about 12 people play on it, but not all at the same time. It's only a 10-slot server. The most we've ever had on, I think, was 9 people. And it became pretty much unplayable. In fact, it's become unplayable even with 5 people at times, simply because of the way the server works. So let's just talk about how this works, because there's a lot of bollocks going around about how dedicated servers work. So I'm going to read from the developers who just posted this. A common misconception is that the game uses some kind of peer-to-peer network. It doesn't. All data is sent between client and server and never between clients. So it isn't peer-to-peer when you're running a dedicated server. However, game logic is somewhat distributed and ran on the game clients rather than on the server. So if player A is alone in an area, all creatures and objects will be controlled by that player and synced to that server. If player B walks over to player A, however, player A will still control the game logic of most objects in that area. If, however, player A leaves that area, player B will then take control of all the objects, and so on. That's where the problem is. This system allows us to do a lot of heavy physics on the client side without overloading the server. It is, however, pretty sensitive to one player having a bad connection. So basically, in layman's terms, if a guy with a bad ping is controlling all the shit, the loot and the monsters, the chests and all of that in an area, then player B, who has a fast ping, he'll still get shitty lag because player A with his shit ping. So it plays kind of like peer-to-peer. You see, and that's what's causing the problem. Now, unfortunately, this is how the developer ends this post. He says, I have some ideas of how to improve the system, but it's pretty complicated and not something that can be fixed easily. So they do have something up their sleeve to fix it, but it's not easy and it's not going to be anytime soon by the sounds of that. So I just wanted to start with that. That's a bit of a bombshell, but the rest of this video is going to be good news. So let's talk about single player. I've done 90 hours in the game. Most of that's been in multi, but I have decided to spend a whole day just single player, building up a nice house and progressing, killing bosses and shit like that, and mining, doing dungeons, and just seeing what it's like as a single player experience. A bit more than what I did for my review, because when I did the review, it was about 90% multiplayer, 10% single. Well, I've rebalance that a bit, and I have to say it is very, very playable in single player. Everything scales to the amount of players on the server, so if you go in a dungeon in single player, you won't find half as many mobs as you would if you went in with 2 or 3 of your friends, and the mobs won't hit as hard and they won't have as many hit points as well. I've noticed that. So it's very, very user friendly for single player. However, that changes from what I'm not anywhere near the end boss in single player. But as you get further into the game, it does become quite difficult, more difficult in single player than it does in multiplayer. But that's obviously going to happen. But it's not unplayable in single player. So if you are a single player guy, you can certainly play a long time in single player fine. I can't comment about end game because, well, end game isn't even in there properly yet. But I can't comment about the end bosses either. I don't know how hard they'll be in single player because I haven't got that far yet. The next thing I want to just talk about is all the misinformation or lies on the comments of my Valheim review with regards to portals. People saying that you can't beat the game without portals. You can't visit all the biomes without portals. You can't kill the last boss without portals. Basically, all absolute rubbish. You have to use portals if you have a job because of the time sink. Absolute garbage. Everybody on my server pretty much has a job, and we don't have a single portal in sight. And as far as progress goes, we're about to kill the last boss. We've visited every single biome. You know, we don't have portals anyway. We go to traders with a boat. We go to the biomes with a boat. Do you know why? Because this game is one of the most immersive games I've ever played in my life. It really, really is. And why would I want to spoil that by teleporting the around a world that is so amazing as this one? Every time you get in a boat, it's an adventure. You don't know if you're going to get attacked by a bloody sea monster. You don't know what's waiting for you when you land. You just don't know what the is going to happen. It's just such an... I mean, we've had entire longboats sunk with gear in the hold because we just got attacked one after another, and we haven't been able to land at the shore to repair it because there's maybe been trolls or stuff like that, and we've had to try and make emergency repairs. We recovered the items afterwards, but we've still had them adventures. You see, we are Vikings in this game. This game is about Vikings. When they came to my country to rape and pillage, they didn't teleport the across the sea. They got in a longboat, a longship, and rowed and sailed here. Grabbed all the shit, killed a few people, jumped back in and sailed the back. We do the same because we enjoy doing that, because that's the point of the game. I mean, I just can't understand why the developers put portals in. I really can't. But let's just, hey look, opinions. If you want to use them, use them. It's nothing to do with me, what you do in your game. But don't try to tell people that you need them, because our server's living proof. You do not need portals. It's as simple as that, and we won't be using them at all. My big fear is that the developers listen to all these people who need instant gratification in games. They can't be bothered to get in a boat and sail to the trader, so they'll have a portal straight there. You know, I'm just scared that the developers listen more to these people instead of the immersive people, which they should be listening to the immersive people, because that's what games are lacking. And I honestly blame the gaming industry with the hand-holdy bullshit that's been going on for the last 15 years. It's changed the mentality of so many gamers now that they want all of this kind of stuff, and they just lack the imagination to really just get engrossed in their character and in the situation. I'm just happy to be playing alongside like-minded people. It's just great fun. We get frustrated now and then, but I tell you what, the satisfaction levels are off the scale when you play without portals. It's just, you feel like you're accomplishing things, you feel like you're really living that life, and it's brilliant. And I just hope the developers stick with that kind of mentality when they're developing this game through till the end game, essentially. I do not want the game to develop where you need portals, because then it's just dead to us, to be honest. There's a lot of ways they can improve the game as well, with building, with the crafting bench, the range of the crafting bench. I would like to see definitely some kind of recycling thing where you can throw all your unwanted mats. You get a lot of materials of just killing things or stuff that you pick up that you just don't want, and when you throw them down, they're there on the server, you know. And I would like a way of getting rid of them, like a fire you can make where you can just throw items in and they'll just despawn instantly, like a giant skip. A Viking skip would be great. Just something that we can have to just get rid of all of our shite instead of littering the land with it, waiting a few days for it to actually despawn. That would be handy as well. And maybe it's increasing the range of the crafting benches. I'm sick of having to make crafting benches all over the bloody place. It's a nightmare. Again, it's unnecessary. I don't see the point in it at all. I'd like to see them just get rid of it altogether, to be honest with you, and just let you build your walls. It would help the server stability as well. There's a few things like that I'm hoping that the developers have got the finger on the pulse with. But anyway, guys, that's it from me. I'll be back with some reviews coming up to the weekend. I'm also going to be hopefully trying to stream BlizzCon that's coming out on Friday. We'll see if we can do that. I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I'm still trying to find out. If anyone has any information on whether I am allowed to do that, please post it in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video, guys.